You have found Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggles, stories, and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. We are locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. If you're listening or watching this on the webs, you could do us a huge favor and share it with your entrepreneurial friends. Audio episodes can be found on the podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. Today, we're welcoming / preparing to learn from Helena Gibson from Unveil Restorative Hair Care. And Helena, how is it going today?
It is going awesome. It's beautiful weather. It's nice, like overcast day in sunny California.
Oh, nice. Well, any day in California is probably better than a day in Wisconsin. So you win.
Okay.
You definitely win. So tell us, what is Unveil?
So Unveil is a restorative hair care line that helps to thicken the hair. So a lot of our clients, I have brick and mortar stores that I've had for the last 21 years
Oh,
in
nice.
San Diego and in Fresno, California, which is Central California. And I noticed a lot of the people were coming in and buying Rogaine-based products. There are certain ones, Viviscal, Revitagen, and there were things that they didn't like about it because they had synthetic ingredients or they had shellfish in them. And so I started thinking about that when COVID happened and it shut my business down.
Mm.
I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I've had 19 years of this business, and now all of a sudden the government can shut it. I've got to come up with something else. Well, I couldn't do wigs because wigs are all usually manufactured overseas. So then I thought, okay, what's my next biggest SKU in that I can create in the US, which were these hair products and which were these things that clients had been complaining about over the years. So I started doing some research and I found that plant stem cells actually can regenerate. And what happens is as our hair gets older, our scalp and our hair follicles, they miniaturize. And these plant stem cells actually help to, you can imagine it kind of coming down and like atrophy. It actually helps the bulb. And so the hair starts regrowing again. And so then I just, hired some formulators. I went through like 3 different ones and everything during COVID that could come up, trying to, find people and chemists I could work with and understand their lingo. And I would want this, and they would say that wouldn't work. Well, after 2 years, Unveil was finally born with my hero product, which is our serum.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is crazy. So you
yeah,
took this pandemic, it's interesting how a lot of people reacted to the pandemic. Because I mean,
yeah,
shutting your business down, that had to be a not great thing. I certainly know it wasn't a great thing on our end.
yeah, no.
And but that's very interesting that you took that gear shift to something like we're coming up with a whole new product, designing it from scratch, essentially,
Scratch.
I believe.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow. That is
yeah,
cool. So
yeah.
tell
And I
me,
was very,
oh, I'm sorry, with the salon, what did you
yes.
end up doing with the salons? Because California, I'm trying to think where California was at with their closing and stuff like that.
Oh, he closed us. Um,
Okay.
yeah, we're not in Florida. We got closed.
Right.
Luckily, though, I'm not an actual salon. So what I've done for all these years is I'm in hair replacement. So I do wigs and hair pieces for cancer patients. So we
Oh,
do
nice.
cranial prosthesis. So after I was done crying for about 3 days in my shower, then I realized to let my salon license go. And we opened back up 3 days later as DME, as durable medical equipment for the cranial prosthesis. So I actually
Oh,
didn't close.
smart woman. I love
Yeah.
it.
So 3 days later, we were back open. Now, my
Very cool.
staff didn't want to come back. So my Fresno store was completely closed. I just stayed open down here in San Diego, and I was open 2 days a week by appointment. So then people would come to the website and I would just stack them on those days. And we actually did the same volume during those 2 months that I didn't have staff in as we usually do, just by booking them, because they were serious to come in. I had the hospitals referring to me. I let them know I was still open because unfortunately people were still losing their hair and there's still mirrors in their houses and they still wanted to feel good during COVID. And so the business actually took off. And then on the days I wasn't in the store, I was working on launching Unveil.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
impressive.
Thank you.
Oh, I love having people like you on the podcast. That's fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what entrepreneurship is about, right? Is, all these things come at us, but it's what are you going to do about it? Yeah. I mean, I did. I cried for 3 days, you know, but then I sat down, I thought, okay, what can I do? Because I'm a single mom. My daughter was just in her senior year of college. She was flying back. She was in Canada. So she's watching what I'm doing. I had to finish paying off her school. I mean, I had a lot of obligations. So we just had to make it work and figure out how
Make
to
it
do it,
work. Yeah, I
make
love
it
it.
work. Yeah.
So tell me, what was the you? I guess you had to understand that going through trying to come up with a serum thing was going to be a huge undertaking. So on top of the stress of your business being challenged with the pandemic and all that jazz, now you're taking on a whole new business. Was that what was going through your head to say this was the best path forward?
I think it was because that was something I could do in the US. It was something that is my stores, I've only been able to sell to a 30-mile area in each location. So I've always been landlocked. And the only way to grow after being in this business for so long is opening more stores. And I didn't want that headache, especially being in the state of California with more employees, because most of the time I'm at about 12 between both locations. I didn't want to deal with more landlords. The retail rents have gone through the roof because it's not like office space. Everybody got PPP. So we all still had money to pay rent. So it was, okay, what can I do that's online? Well, the cool thing now is I sell to the whole country. Most of my orders for Unveil are everywhere. I mean, I'm always shipping to, New York or Georgia, Florida. It doesn't matter. So now I've opened this whole new world, and that was one of my biggest considerations was I didn't want to be landlocked again. How could I do something that I can scale all the way to the moon versus not with my stores? It's how many hours am I open? How many chairs do I have? That's it. And once you have every chair booked every hour, there's no more to do but open another store.
All right, there's nowhere to grow.
There's no more to grow.
And then opening another store, now you're talking getting employees, getting chairs, and you have to build up to before you're even profitable.
Right.
So to scale each time is a another big headache, I suppose.
Huge, huge undertaking. Exactly. So those were some of the things that were in it. And plus this was one of the this was one of the only things where people complained a lot and that I didn't see something in that market that was, all natural, non-toxic. Because remember, I'm working with cancer patients. So they don't want something with synthetic ingredients. They don't want hormone disruptors. So that was really important to me to make sure that this was clean and that it wouldn't, if they can use it while they're on chemo or if somebody's post pregnancy. So then they can use it even while they're breastfeeding because whatever you put on your scalp is absorbed into your bloodstream. And people forget that sometimes when they're putting Rogaine or different, synthetic products on there.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
tell me, did you start out with a rough idea of what you wanted chemically, or did you have to meet with some people in lab coats that knew all kinds of chemistry or something like that? I don't
Well,
even know where you start with something like this.
well, I had an advantage, like I said, was I was selling other products in this field, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
had somewhat of a knowledge of what's in them and how they work, what the timetable is. I know about the hair cycles in your anagen phase, canogen phase, telogen phase, all that. So I've known that just by being in the hair loss industry. So what I needed the formulators for was when I was trying to come up with, like with our shampoo that's going to come out in the next couple of weeks is, I want to put rice water in it. And then I need it to be sulfate free. But then how do you make it sud? Because sulfates are what makes the bubbles and stuff so that, so all of those things are what I used and that they coached me through. So that's why it took about 2 years was because I would say, hey, I saw this online. I want to put this in there. No, that's water based and this is oil based and you can't mix them and stuff like that. So it's a whole new world. So for me, this is going to be my next 20 years, I hope. And now you get so excited because you look at things different. I'm like, wow, I could make that better. Or I wonder how they put that together. I wonder what's in that. And then I find myself looking at the back of, other shampoos and stuff. And I'm trying to, oh, I know what that does. And so it's pretty cool. It's like a whole new
Interesting.
world. Yeah.
Tell me, you're trying to find the people in lab coats, the scientists, the chemists that put this stuff together. How do you find that? Because I can't imagine that you
Yeah.
can just go on fiverr.com or something like that to find lab people. I don't know. Where do you find people
No.
like that?
So I have a network. I'm in a couple business groups. So I reached out to some of my friends in there. And then also Google that you really can kind of, find people that make formulas and so forth. And you can also start with private label. So my product is not private labeled, it's completely proprietary, but I had private labeled items before for Strut for my brick and mortar stores. So then I talked to them and I asked them first if they would formulate something for me. They said they don't do that. That's strictly all they do. That's why their price point's low and they can sell you 24 versus when I did Unveil, I had to buy 5,000 units.
Oh wow, you're talking bottles or jars or
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
5,000, ready or
That's
not.
the minimum. That's the minimum. And that means, and I'm a very small fish still, I mean, they're wanting 50,000 units before you even start getting price breaks.
Wow.
Then you learn about lead times, and then you learn about every ingredient takes a different amount of time. And then each cap, each, lid, the label, there's so many pieces that go into it. And many times I was like, what am I doing? The stores are back open, we're back going, but I stayed focused on why I did it, which is what I told you is I wanted a larger audience. I wanted to be able to reach more people. I wouldn't be here on your podcast without something like this, right? Because this doesn't, I mean, it's good because as I told you, I had my own for a while helping salon owners, but this gives me a bigger reach and to talk about non-toxic beauty and to talk about what you put on your skin, on your body, your lotions, all that stuff goes in your body. And I know for myself, until I really started digging into it, I didn't think about that. I just put whatever I wanted on my skin because it smelled good or looked pretty or whatever.
Mhm.
And that's a big deal, especially with toxins and stuff building up and metals and metallics. You really have to think about that because cancer is a big thing because I see it every day in my store and they're getting younger and younger.
Oh, interesting. That's
Yes,
scary, really.
it is really scary. And especially in San Diego, I get ladies in their 30s, that are going through chemo and they've never smoked, they've never eaten meat, they're yoga, all they do is drink wheatgrass and they've got cancer. And a
Holy
lot of
cow.
times, right? And I'll tell them, I'm like, I think it's environmental. And it could be all these other things that are in our house, like carpet or paint and stuff. So if we can do one thing and this one thing that actually really changes the way someone feels about themselves, because hair is part of your identity. And that's what I think sometimes even the doctors lose sight of with the wigs, because a lot of times they're not covered under cranial prosthesis. It's viewed as cosmetic. It really makes a difference on how a woman feels and how she shows up. I know when my hair looks amazing, I show up totally different than when it's in a, ball on the top of my head, right? We all do. You feel great about yourself when you just gotten your hair cut, whatever. It
Oh yeah.
really does make a difference.
Yeah, totally. As much
Yeah,
as we like to say that we're not superficial like that, I mean, we're visual creatures. That's just the nature of the beast,
exactly.
I guess, as far as that goes. So
Exactly. And you see yourself with it.
yeah, absolutely. You just feel good when you look good, I guess, as far as that
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah.
So when you were tackling this, well, let me back up a step. My sister was dabbling into making her own makeup.
Okay.
And because of the same reasons that you mentioned, the toxins and metals, all that kind of stuff. And I was trying to understand why doesn't or why hasn't some big, huge conglomerate company come out with something safer? Is it cheaper to
Mm.
make stuff that's less good, or is it?
Yes.
I guess I don't even want to guess. You probably know. I
Yes.
guess. Can you help me understand why the
Yeah.
good stuff hasn't already been out there?
Well, it is cheaper. The ingredients are when you start getting into organic, it's just like buying raspberries for for instance, right? Organic raspberries always cost more than the regular raspberries. It's the same thing with getting ingredients. Getting certified costs a lot. Like we're doing consumer perception studies now. We were also when I emailed my formulator, I'm like, what does it mean to say that we're clinical products and all of this kind of stuff? There's so many extra things that go into it. And if you throw one ingredient in there that's not, like, we have probably like 30 things in there, it throws the whole thing off.
Oh wow.
So that's where, it gets very expensive. I think that a lot of them, though, are getting on that train now, especially like animal testing and all of that. People don't want that anymore. Like we're cruelty free, we're gluten free, because that's another thing here in San Diego. Gluten's a big deal. A lot of people are sensitive to it or don't want to, absorb it. They don't want it in their hair products, which blew my mind. But I have a client here. And when we did the private label shampoo, first thing she asked me was there gluten in there? And I was like, what does that matter? She's like,
Yeah,
well,
don't eat it.
exactly. But it mattered. So I remembered that from a few years ago and made sure that the product was gluten free. So I just paid attention to what people were saying, no matter how out there it was. I wanted to make sure it was inclusive for all those things that I heard.
Interesting. That is a lot to keep track of.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes. Yes.
So
It's
when
a
you're
little
looking at
overwhelming.
when I look at the back of a shampoo bottle, I see water and a few other ingredients that I can pronounce. And then below that, I see many, many very large words that I imagine have some kind of Latin in them or something like that.
Yes.
So, and there was a time way back when I thought it'd be fun to look up what each of these ingredients does and why it does what it does.
Yes.
So, and a lot of times the information that I found was not necessarily uplifting. You're like,
Right.
oh, that's not great.
Right.
So, how do you accomplish the goal of, is it hair growth or hair rejuvenation or?
Yeah. Well, technically, I can't say hair growth because that's making a medical claim. So
Oh,
yes. And that's the other thing is I've had to hire attorneys to scrub my labels to make sure that I don't make any claims. So we promote hair growth.
okay.
We don't grow it, I guess. Um, to be clear, it's so funny, right? Because you have to be so careful of what you say. I heard a really funny story from the attorney. So I guess this lady bought some bust lift cream, and it said instant lift. So she buys it, uses it, I guess, for like a week. Didn't lift her bust. She sued the company and won because it said instant bust lift. So I always
Wow.
think of that when I'm writing something down. Like you have to be so careful because there's that one person out there. I mean, really, really, you think it's going to instantly do it?
Thought you just watch and pop up it goes.
But that's what they said.
Wow.
Yes.
That is
So
crazy.
we say promotes a thicker, fuller head of hair,
Okay.
which is so generic. And I hated it. But my attorney's like, that's the best thing you can do. I had targets causes of hair loss and all this like cool stuff. He said, Kim, I wouldn't do that.
All right. It's just it
So,
promotes it.
right.
Interesting. So is that an FDA thing or who's making that distinction or says you can't make that distinction?
The lawyers.
The law. So the idea is that they don't want somebody to say, "Hey, I use this product and I didn't instantly lift my bust
Right.
or something like that."
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So gotcha. Where promote is a vague enough term that
Yes.
it'd be tough to define, like, hey, this my hair didn't get promoted. But
Exactly.
got
Yes.
it.
So we stay very vague. Yes. But
Interesting.
like I said, that's why I'm doing the perception studies because it does work. And so that's where the consumer perception studies is that. So we've hired a company out of LA to where 100 people are going to be using it, and then they'll say 90% of them noticed new hair after 6 weeks because that's
Okay.
kind of your hair growth cycle is 90 days. So what we have on the bottle that I'm okay with is in 6 weeks, you should start noticing your hair feeling thicker, stronger, less breakage, less shedding because it's anti-shedding, anti-breakage, and promotes the hair growth. And then in 90 days, you should start seeing the little vellus, little baby hairs coming in because every hair on your head's in a different hair growth cycle. So that's why it takes, usually you need to go through three bottles at least, which would take you about 6 months to actually see a big difference. So we're really big on taking photographs because a lot of times you forget what it looked like originally 6 months later. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting that you say that because I wanted to ask, how do you know if you're growing hair? Are you measuring? I can't imagine somebody's counting the hairs on your head. Maybe they are. I don't
Yeah.
know how.
Well, there's companies you can pay to do that, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Are they looking at a little spot, like I don't know, 3-inch square spot, and then just multiplying that times the head and
Yes.
figuring
Yes.
out?
They actually magnify it and you can see the follicles and then they put like a little tattoo right there and then they just keep
Wow.
counting it over and over. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So you
Interesting.
can. I don't ask my clients to do that. I just tell you to take pictures.
All right. Just look in the mirror. If you
Just
see
take a
hair, you're
picture.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I imagine a lot, I guess the concern is that it's to a point subjective.
Yes.
so that you want them to take pictures so that they know, hey, before or after, is it a clear distinction?
Yes.
So you know that it's working.
Yes.
So is the idea that once they get it going, they have to use the product indefinitely, or is this something that once we're good, or tell me how that
Right.
works.
So there's no cure for hair loss, at least not yet. So
All right.
yes, it's like toothpaste. You're going to have to just keep it in the bathroom and keep using it because whatever your trigger is, and the interesting thing that I've learned with this is it's almost like a roadmap. So, for instance, with a woman per se, she's going to be having babies. And so she's post pregnancy. So she's going to need it. She's shedding. Then after that, she's in her 30s. She's married. She's stressed. She's going to need it. Then COVID happened. She's stressed. She's going to need it. Now she's perimenopausal. She's going to need it. She's about to hit menopause. Then after menopause, her hair changes. You almost need it the whole time because there's all these different factors. Well, if you stop using it, it's like dieting. You lost weight, you quit eating the donuts, then you go back to the donuts and you gained the weight again. And then we did the same thing for men, right? So now you guys have DHT, you have higher testosterone. So then you have different times where that spikes because you go through hormone changes too. Plus, you're married. Now there's 3 kids. You're stressed. They're screaming. So your hair starts shedding. You lost a parent. You lost an aunt. All these different things. Stress is one of the number one things besides genetics that can cause hair loss.
Stress
Also,
is.
yes, stress is
Wow.
huge. Stress is going to kill you. I mean, that
You're probably not
it's
wrong.
just it's a big deal. And for me now with having 3 businesses, I'm very keen on watching that because I get overwhelmed and stressed with so much stuff going on. And I work really hard to have like a really strict morning routine to ground myself before my day starts. And my staff's at me and customers and all these things and deadlines because there's so much. And I know that that's so important to also take those breaks in there. And that's really good for your hair. So we also have a candle. It's called Unwind. And the reason I did the candle was for that. A lot of this stuff I kind of built even around myself, thinking about, okay, how can I remind myself to relax? How can I remind myself, set the mood? It's okay. All these things that got us where we're at, James, that shows that we've got this. Whatever's here, we did all of this. And so here we are. And so remember to light that candle, set that mood because candles actually bring your stress down. And so we're using coconut wax in it so that way it doesn't have chemicals in the candles. And then it smells like our shampoo. So we have a signature scent of bourbon, mandarin, and vanilla. So that was unisex.
All right.
And so when you come in our stores, we have it, the candles lit, and then you're like, oh, that smells so good. Well, that's what our shampoo is going to smell like when it comes out.
That's cool. Are those scents together or are those three options?
Yeah. No, they're together. It's a blend,
Oh, that sounds cool. That sounds like a good drink.
right? I had to put the bourbon in for you guys.
I appreciate that. We're big fans. So tell me about the candle. When are you lighting that candle then?
So I light the candle in the evenings or when I'm working. I am very much a spiritual person, and I believe that fire gives me creative energy. So when I'm reading all those labels and looking up all those words I don't understand, I light the candle because it just kind of lifts up my mood. And then at night, if I take a bath or whatever to soak my legs and stuff, then I put the candle on. So I use it, a couple times a week.
All right. That's
Yeah,
cool. That's very cool.
yeah, yeah.
So tell me the employees that you had that were afraid to come back, did they end up going away forever or did they eventually come back or how did that work?
All my team came back.
They did. Oh, congrats to that.
Thank you. I sent gift baskets and, really we did still weekly staff meetings and stuff. They were afraid, a lot of people, of COVID and being around
Yeah.
customers and stuff. So since we were all social distancing, it was just my daughter and I. So I wasn't out and about and I was very careful since I was working with people with compromised immune systems. So I would just go in the shop, help them and leave. And I didn't feel nervous around them because, like I said, they were immune compromised. So I know they weren't out and about. And I never got COVID during that time. And so it was fine. So yeah, everybody came back that June. We opened back up June 1st in both stores. So I lost no one. And that was really good. That felt good. That really took my leadership to a whole nother level. I was a co-author in a book, Lead Like a Woman, with my friend Andrea Houston. And one of the things in there that I was talking about is how going through something like that, and I think at the time then I had 8 people, keeping them positive, feeling good that they had job security, they had a place to come back to. I wasn't upset that they didn't want to work in the store. I was disappointed, but I wasn't upset. Like it's okay. I understand. And understanding that I had 8 people that all felt differently how COVID is. I'm sure all of your listeners, right? Everybody had a different opinion.
Mhm.
So I had to be okay with that and understand someone else's side. So that was really cool to play that neutral with it. But for me, I had bills to pay and I was going to work. So, you know,
Amen to that.
yeah.
Yeah, I can remember with my crew, I felt like there wasn't great leadership around us on any level.
Okay.
So with my crew, I felt, or I guess the way that I understood it, they had a lot of fear. They didn't know what was going
Mm,
on.
exactly.
And so I'm like, we got to just lead them and say, this is what's going to happen, right? I made a promise to you when I hired you that you'd have a job. You got a job. We're cool. We'll figure this out. It's not the end of the world, though a lot of people wanted to preach that it was.
Yeah,
We'll
exactly.
figure it out. We'll figure it out. And
Exactly.
it worked. It worked. It was
Yeah.
rough,
And that's what people are
challenging.
looking for. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They're just looking for someone to tell them it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of, I just hired someone new. She started yesterday actually in my San Diego store. And one of the things she said to me is she's like, I've seen you for the last 12 years here. I've seen you. And I said, exactly, we're not going anywhere. I'm looking for people that want a home. And then
Mm-hmm.
that makes them feel good that they know. And then when COVID happened, I had already been through 2008, 2009, 2010. So I leaned on that. And actually, during that time was how I was able to afford to move to San Diego. Because coming from Fresno, it's way cheaper. It's like the least expensive part of our state. It's farming town because my grandparents were farmers. And in 2011, I moved to San Diego and actually signed a 10-year lease. And everybody's always like, you signed it, even your eyes, you signed a 10-year lease. And
Right?
I said, I was going for broke. Coming from Fresno to move to a metropolitan city like this, I was like, I have nothing. What's he going to take from me? I'm going all in. And that's what I do is I burn my boats. I came and now I've been here 12 years in his location. And, it's just finding somebody that you take a chance. We both took a chance on each other.
All right. Landlord and you, essentially.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Well, because I had looked at some other spaces when I decided I wanted to move here. And one of them said they would lease to me, but because I was from Fresno, they didn't think I'd make it. So they wanted a double deposit. And I
Wow.
said, I can't move in here with that kind of energy on me. Like,
No, 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 no,
no.
no, no.
Then
You
another
think you're
one,
gonna fail? That's
oh, yeah.
crazy.
And her space is right down the street from mine. And she's turned over at least 2 or 3 times in the 12 years I've been at my space. So every time I drive by, I smile. I'm like, you lost
Sucker.
that. Uh-huh. And then the other one, which was in Del Mar, he wanted 50,000 cash after I opened. So I had money to open, and then he's like, I need that sitting there to make sure I could pay the rent. And I said no. And so then the guy Marty that I ended up leasing with, he fell in love with me and my daughter and the dream, and yeah, took the chance, and the rest is history.
So far, so good, right?
Yeah, so far so
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Did any of your people, your employees, did they transition over to helping you with I want to say chemicals, the hair care stuff or the internet stuff, or they're doing the local stuff, and then you have other people doing the
Yeah. So I hired a
nationwide.
whole new different team.
Gotcha.
So
All right.
my salespeople for Strut consultants, they're pretty much in that. This is a whole different business. This is e-commerce
Okay.
versus brick and mortar. So it really doesn't transcend. And I'm lucky enough that my team in the stores are so busy, they couldn't help me even if they wanted to, because I need them to service the people walking in the store. So I have 2 full-time people that work with me on the social media team and the influencer outreach and all of that. Then I have a PR firm that I hired back in September. Then I have an SEO/ads guy that works with me. Then I have the 2 attorneys. Then I have my formulators. So Unveil has its own team. So I manage both sides.
Wow. So how do you juggle your time between the two? Because I imagine there's headaches with both.
Yes.
One or two.
Yes. Um, The people on each side are really good people.
Okay.
And they believe in what we're doing on both sides. This side really wants to help the clients that are struggling with their hair loss, that need wigs and so forth. And I have store managers, they want to grow in that area. We have front desk that then they move into sales, so they have a trajectory that they can go there. And if they ever wanted to come on this side, and if they ever wanted to get into digital marketing, because really that's what I am now, not only a formulator, all I study now is digital marketing, right? I've got these products, I've got to get them out online, which is very different than what I've done brick and mortar.
Hmm.
I'd knock on doors, right? Now this
Yeah.
isn't, I can't go knock on doors. Then this side believes in this business. Like, I was on the phone with the PR company before I came, and the main lady, Martha, was telling me how great her hair looked and how she saw new baby hairs and her hair's growing so fast and how happy she is. And we were talking about that's amazing, because if you don't believe in it, how are you going to pitch me and my product if you don't love my product?
Right.
So they love Unveil and they believe in the vision and they're passionate about it. So that's really cool, is I have a really great team on both sides that support me.
That is awesome. That has got to be
Yeah.
rare. I know
Yes.
that I lost most of my hair from employees, so kudos to you for a good team. I'm assuming it's
Thank you.
employees. I don't know.
Well, they caused me to want to pull my hair out too. There's extensions in here as well.
Oh, nice. We're all
Oh
good.
yes.
Tell me about the one thing that I talk to people that do food is the packaging, the size of
Okay.
the bottles, what the
Yes.
material, whether it's glass or plastic,
Yes.
squeeze bottle versus a cap and all that kind of stuff. Tell me about how you figured all that out.
That was like I was saying about the components, right?
Hmm.
So we're using glass bottles because I'm trying to stay sustainable. My daughter, as I mentioned before, is 26. So she's in that generation of everything is, really has nothing in it. So how do you even have a product, right?
All right.
So she was very much my sounding board because she was living with me at the time during COVID. So we decided on the glass bottles. And I actually like that. I think it's better. I couldn't find the a sustainable sprayer, which we are looking on because my serum is actually a spray. But we did find our scalp brush, and it is made out of wheatgrass. So it's actually biodegradable. And as I said with the candle, it's glass. And then it's got the coconut wax in it. So everything that we're bringing out. So as I'm working on the shampoo, we're using like bamboo for our lids. So as you unscrew it, and then we're doing the squeeze, and we're using recycled plastic because I can't really do glass shampoo and stuff. So we're trying to do all of these kinds of things, and then the labels and so forth. So yeah, everything I'm doing, our boxes are biodegradable that we have the product in. So yes, and all that costs more. So what you were saying about with like the big companies and stuff is I'm trying to source all of these things. When you use recycled, when you use 100% cotton, anytime you do those kinds of things, they charge more for it.
Hmm. And just the scale of getting 5,000 versus whatever 5 million bottles of
Right,
whatever it is that
right.
competition is.
Yes, so I
Interesting.
pay much more now for 5,000 than once I hit. I think the next benchmarker they told me was like 25 or something. So they're big jumps as you go. And
Okay.
then what's interesting is you're buying like the lids, and they'll sell you 10,000 lids but 5,000 bottles, or you have to buy 8,000 stickers but you only have 5,000. So then you always end up with extra
It's the
because
12
nobody
buns,
does. Yes,
12 buns,
yes.
eight hot dogs, right?
Yes, exactly. It's so crazy. So it's the
Oh,
same thing with this. You can't make it all kind of line up. So then that's kind of a bummer because it's a little bit of waste. But we're using that in case, maybe a bottle breaks or something happens and we can redo it. So it's okay.
all right. So from a manufacturing point of view, does the where does the chemicals come together? Is that you guys in a kitchen somewhere, or is it some guy with a 55-gallon drum, or is it in some mad scientist factory somewhere? How does
Yes,
that all
it's in
work
that
for it to end
factory
up in,
somewhere.
all right, for it to end up in a bottle in someone's hand? Take me from whatever chemical places to the finished product. How does that all flow together?
Yeah. So the I'm lucky with the final chemist that I ended up with actually works at the place where they actually put the stuff together. So
Oh,
they're a turnkey company. So they actually do everything. So the chemist is there. They have all the machines and everything. They're in Arizona. And then they ship me the final product. I actually have the labels shipped to them, the boxes shipped to them, and then they do all of that together. So they allow you to do that so I can have less touch points.
wow. That's
Now
incredible.
this, yeah, yeah. Well, this last time though, the see, and then you have to time everything. The packaging wasn't actually ready when the bottles were done, and I wanted them so fast. They sent me the bottles, and we're actually hand stuffing this first 5,000 bottles because I couldn't get them the boxes in time. And anyway, so it's a lot,
I get
but
it.
it's so worth it. It's so amazing, and it's such a journey. And when those bottles landed last October, I mean, it was like giving birth again. It was
Oh, it's
amazing.
funny.
Yeah.
That is funny. It's got to be a cool feeling.
Yes, to have something that you totally did from scratch, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, to go through all that. So this product has been on the market for a little over a year. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah.
tell me about, you have this product, you have these bottles. How do you transition into getting those in front of people and actually moving product?
So I'm very lucky since I have my stores. That was one of the first ways we started moving them. So that's why I didn't worry about the packaging because I just, as soon as the product was ready and approved, I wanted it in the stores. So that's one of our main ways that we sell it. Also, my trunk. I did like $20,000 in 3 months last year just selling. As soon as I would meet someone and I'm like, oh, I've got this hair product, or they'd say something about my hair. Literally, I just go to my car like the Mary Kay lady, lift my trunk up, and I'm like, here you go.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
my Venmo blew up.
All right. That's
Yeah.
not a bad thing, right?
No, that's you know what people you I always like guerrilla marketing was always one of my biggest things, especially when I started so long ago and I didn't have any money at all. It was getting out there and however you can sell it, you sell it when you're starting. Plus, this was my first order. So I was doing still proof of concept because one of my mentors told me if you can't sell 5,000, you don't actually have a business.
Not wrong. Yeah.
Right. So, because when I was like, oh my God, that's so many, he's like, no, you need to be able to sell that many. So that was pretty awesome. And then what else? So then we get the product. And then I got the website done. That took longer than I thought. So that was supposed to be done in August of last year. Didn't get done until June of this year, which is when our ads started.
Whoa, that's a timeline lapse. Holy cow.
Two different people.
Oh no.
Two different people. So, the things just keep hitting. And that's where I think people get knocked off, right? Everything I did, there was always a moment to quit. It's like, the guy promised me the website. It's a Shopify site, for goodness sakes. It can't be that difficult.
Right.
3 months later, and we started in August. My product was coming in October. So, well, first that was supposed to even be here in July. That was even late coming then. And then I still didn't even have the boxes. So, like, your first thing you kind of learn, it's like cooking. I'm trying to time all of these things together, and none of it came together. So, then being my overachieving self, I've tried to be as patient as I can that when I can't control it. And finally, that's when you light the candle and you zen yourself because it's like, I have no control over this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is what they're doing, like with the website. And then even like Black Friday, this was our first Black Friday. I started noticing the sales weren't what I wanted them on Friday. And then one of my team members went on vacation. And I decided after that, nobody can go on vacation on Black Friday because I'm up at like 9 o'clock on Sunday, changing our ad copy on the Shopify site. It's like you just have to be willing to go. And then the orders started spiking on Monday for our Cyber Monday. I was like, that wasn't good enough. So then I realized we didn't change the homepage banner and all this stuff. And then I was like, damn, whose job is that? There's four of us. Four of us didn't realize, you know.
Oh,
So then, my mom's like, that's okay. You just write it all down and for next year. I'm like, but that's not the point.
right.
Four of us, because she's like, well, you guys should have sat and thought about it. I'm like, we have a whole calendar. Like we had it all mapped out. How did this get missed? But I caught it and I fixed it. So
Ah,
that's the thing. You got to just get in there, and like I said, that's the founder's job, right? 9 o'clock on my Sunday, and then whack, sales went right through the roof.
Yeah, that's funny. I always joke with my crew. I'm like, you guys get to punch in and out. I punched in once and I'm still waiting to punch out. You're
Yes,
just, you're in it. You're in it.
you're in it. Then I wouldn't know what to do with myself now. I've been punched in for 21, almost 22 years. What would I do on
I
a
get it.
Sunday?
I get it. I get it.
You get it?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
I suppose I don't mean this offensively, but to myself as well. There's a little bit of ego involved there.
of
Just like
course.
any entrepreneur, we just feel like we can do it better because we can. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's ego or you're just, I don't know, whatever. You have the experience, the drive, whatever it takes to make it happen. But you also have the experience and drive to make it happen because your employees may not necessarily or not even be aware.
Well, and it's ours. They're
Hmm.
not checking it Sunday night. I was.
Yeah.
I saw something was wrong. And
I
so
think,
then I
yeah,
changed it.
that is
Go ahead.
interesting that you just changed a little bit of copy and that was enough to move the needle.
Yeah, well, copy's huge, right? The offer just wasn't compelling enough. We were doing a buy one bottle, buy one serum, get the scalp brush free. And it was converting, but just not, I had made goals and it wasn't
Hmm.
hitting those goals. And then I went to 25% off site wide. And then whap, up it went for
Huh.
Cyber Monday. So, we as a team thought, oh, that sounds so great because we want them to get the brush to go along with it. We'll give them that free. That's a $14 value. They actually get more off with the brush unless they order a whole bunch than the 25% off. But it
Oh,
sounds bigger.
sure.
So it actually worked to my benefit. But yeah, I started seeing all these site wide, and I'm looking and I was like, that's what we needed. But it's ours. I know what you mean about ego. And of course it is, because the first thing everybody asks me is, how's your Black Friday going? How's your weekend going? So
Ah.
yeah, it's my ego. But number two, it's my business. They are
Mhm.
our employees. Now, I do bonus my teams. The more we make, what they do, and as it increases sales, then I give them a piece of it because I want them to watch too.
Mhm.
I want them to see, hey, that's not converting. That's going to affect my check too. So apparently I need to give them a bigger bonus. They weren't watching.
Oh, that's funny. I just interviewed a guy telling about ESOPs and stuff like that, and I was trying to navigate how you bonus employees or give employees enough of a piece, but it's based on how the company does each month, so that they're motivated to actually do their job,
Yeah.
what you want them to
Yeah.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
challenging, but I mean that's the game that we play. That's in it.
Exactly.
What have
Exactly.
you seen over the course of the year? I imagine that you've seen like, hey, this I don't know, this packaging isn't working, or this the way that we ship it isn't working, or something like that. What have been some of the challenges logistically that you didn't necessarily know were going to be a thing?
Well, I'm going to show you on the packaging that wasn't working. So this is very hard to read, and they wouldn't send me the label. And so what happened was when I got it, I went, you can't read that. Now, keep in mind, I got these before I got the boxes. And so I've got 5,000 of not as readable as I wanted. And so it happens. Like they sent me a photo, and on the photo it shined. So I was like, oh, okay, that looks great. And I'm like, are you sure? Like when this sits by itself on a display, it's going to show, oh, yeah, it's going to be great. I get it. And I was like, who approved this? Have you guys ever worked in retail? Like that's not going to work. So now it's boxed, so it's fine. And then I learned about double brush stroking. Like the thing is you learn as you go. It's going to keep You're going to keep making iterations. Next time we're going to wrap it all the way up to the top because also it didn't fill all the way. I guess glass bottles have different weights and they go by weight because the way it's blown. And when they came, some of them were down below the line. And I said, oh, that's not going to work. Because remember, I don't have my boxes. I said, they all look different levels while they're sitting in the store. People aren't going to grab those. Oh, well, blah, 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 the weight thing or something. Well, then I learned about that. And I said, well, we're going to wrap those all the way to the top now. And so you just have to have forgiveness on these first couple runs. But the pill is you've got so many of them in those first runs.
Oh, sure. So you got a bunch of the wrong ones.
But you know what though? They were great. They took them back. They took my whole pallet at their expense, grabbed the pallet back, filled them up for me, and sent them back because I said I'll never order from you. Then I'd have been on formulator number 4, but they took them back. So he redeemed himself. But
All right.
it's stuff like but I pushed on it. I mean, I was like, hey, that's your job to tell me. How would I know that it's based on the weight and the glass is all different versus plastic? So there's so many different things when you're doing it. It's
Mhm.
My brain like wants to explode.
I get it. I totally get it. I can imagine, it's interesting. The guy took him back, took a whole pallet back.
He did.
Either he just understands, hey, we messed up, so we got to eat it, or he's like, this lady's going to be making trillions of bottles. We better make it right.
Yeah, probably both. Probably a
So,
little bit of both.
yeah, kudos to you for
Yeah.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So, where can people find this?
So online,
Mm-hmm.
unveilhaircare.com. And we do have a code for your listeners. If they
Nice.
just type in James, they can get 20% off. And we're going to have that live for 30 days from the date that you air this.
Oh, very cool. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah, of
impressive.
course. Yeah, of course. We want to get everybody having fabulous hair.
Yeah, it's interesting. I looked in the mirror. Well, I got a security camera recently, and I was looking at a video because it said motion detected, right? And turns out it was me. But I'm like, who's that bald guy? Because the camera's up there, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, that
Well, I'm
is.
going to have to send you a bottle. Give it a whirl. And what I tell people to manage expectations. So here's the thing, because my mom uses it. She was kind of the reason why I started Strut. My mom was struggling with thinning hair and was, playing in wigs and all of that stuff. Well, with Unveil, she wanted to use it. And I said, why are you going to use this? You wear the wigs and stuff. And she's like, well, I just want to try and see what it will do. It's actually made her hair thicker, more manageable to where she feels like now if somebody like knocks on the door or something, she doesn't even have to put her wig on. Like I cut her hair not long ago and she's like, oh, it's like an actual little style. Now, will she go out to dinner and take photos and all that? No, she wants to wear her wig, but she loves it and she's noticed the difference. So basically, what I tell people is it doesn't give you hair you never had. My mom will never have my hair. I got it from my dad, luckily. So that's not going to happen. However, it did make her hair go back about 5 or 6 years. And that made her feel amazing. And it feels thicker. It like kind of changed the texture of her hair because the caffeine and niacin coat the hair. So it immediately makes your hair feel and appear thicker, just the
Oh,
existing hair that you've got. Then it helps with breakage because myself, being in my 40s now, your hair starts breaking and you notice women, they'll have thick hair on the top, but then the bottom starts thinning out. So it helps with that. So it helps with breakage. It also as we're covering our grays and all that. And then the shedding because of all those different things. So her hair stopped shedding as much. She showed me in her brush, look, I don't have any hair on me and all of this. And I was like, wow, that's so cool.
wow.
So yeah, it's really cool with that. So even like for yourself, I'm not going to tell you, you're going to have your hair that you did when you were 20,
Yeah.
but if I can take you back about 10 years and make it to where no more comes out, because what happens is as we get older, that's just a natural progression for most people. I mean, there are those guys that have thick, full hair when they're older, but most don't. And then it starts just slowly deteriorating. And this will help with that, with, like I said, that follicle miniaturization and the DHT blocking and so forth.
Interesting. I'm
Yeah.
excited now. Whoa. I keep having to blame my employees.
But you can still blame them for that too, but I won't
Oh, it's, I'm probably not wrong. I guess not with some of them, anyways. So,
they do their best. They're like kids, right? It's like, it's a lot.
yeah, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. That's cool. Tell me, I know we don't have a ton of time here, but I wanted to talk about shipping because
Okay.
that seems to be like it's a small world until you want to ship something,
Yep.
and then it gets to be a very large, expensive world. Tell
Yep.
me, especially with the glass bottles and stuff like that, has that been challenging trying to find ways to ship affordably or quickly or without breakage?
Yes. Yeah. The box helps. And then we have this really cool, like green, uh, it's like a stuffing that looks really neat and we put it in a bag. I had these really cool little bags made so that the unboxing is lovely. So we put the box in the bag and the stuffing. So we actually haven't had that problem. The big problem we have, actually, a friend of mine just placed an order and I shipped it to him and then he said it was delivered in his mailbox and then it wasn't there. And I've had that happen with someone else too. So where did the package go? I
Oh,
dropped it off. It says that it got delivered, and then I don't know if it went to a neighbor, and then the neighbor decided to keep it, or how that went. So that's been a challenge. Is then I of course I reship it to whoever it is, but eating those costs have been more. Those ones I told you, most of the people aren't in California, so the shipping's a lot higher. I ship a lot to the East Coast, and then we put it in a really nice box. So that's been kind of expensive. I also kept my shipping in-house. I'm not using a 3PL. I wanted to personally touch a lot of the first ones. A lot of times I'll initial it.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, just right now while I can, while it's still small enough, that I can do that. So I make sure and look that everything goes out, has a cool little card, with, like I said, where I sign it personally or something. And yeah, I think that's really important before I give that away and we get too big and lose that personal touch, because eventually I won't be able to do that.
Right. You just scale to the point that you can't, or it's not reasonable to.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
So that helps with our costs. That manages a lot of my costs because I've got it in-house at my store. And then my staff can do it. We check it. Some of those things with 3PLs, I had another friend that her product was sent there. There was a problem with it. Well, she didn't realize till some of it had already went out to customers. They complained, then they had to pull it out. See, if I get it, when I saw that the sizing wasn't right, I was able to do it right away because I saw it. I'm
All
not
right.
having to wait yet. So I can quality control everything that comes in. Like we have a supplement. So we have three main products right now is our hair serum, the scalp brush, and then our supplement, because you also want to do from the inside as you're doing from the outside. And then our supplement is vegan because I'm vegetarian. So we have a vegan supplement. There's no gelatin in it. There's no shellfish in it. And it can actually replace your multivitamin. It's bioavailable. So I learned all of these things when I was researching on this. So when you ingest it with food, your body actually absorbs what it needs and then passes what it doesn't. So that's super huge that a lot of people don't think about when they're taking supplements because there's really no regulation on it.
No, not much at all.
Not at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating
Yeah.
on so many levels. Just when I think that I was busy, I meet someone like you and I'm like, oh, I must be bored. That is cool. Well, Helena, I really appreciate you being on the show. Can you tell us the website one more time?
Sure. Unveilhaircare.com.
Unveilhaircare.com. I love it.
And code James for 20% off.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. That's cool. I'm excited.
Yeah.
What do you see? I don't know, 2-3 years down the road? Are you going to come up with more products, or what is your roadmap looking like?
So, mostly just focusing on Unveil. Eventually, I'm hoping to sell my stores to my team. I'd love them to buy me out in like the next 5 years. I'd like to be out of Strut and then run this baby for the next 20. And then I figured I'm in like chunks of 20. I got my first 20 with brick and mortar, second 20 with Unveil, and then probably my last 20 I'll do, the give back with my coaching program I had and all of that, bring back the salon MBA and help other people, with their businesses and, more philanthropy and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is impressive. So congrats on all that you have going on. I'm excited to check this out.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Your podcast is amazing and I love all the shows, and you have some really interesting topics that I think are very poignant to where we're at right now, especially in the world we live in.
We've had some cool guests and you are definitely on that list. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. We're locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. If you're listening or watching this on the web, if you could do us a huge favor, give it the big old thumbs up, subscribe, and of course, share it with your entrepreneurial friends, especially those that may have some thinning hair due to employees, challenges, all the entrepreneurial headaches that happen, right? One or two. My name is James Gibbon, and Authentic Business Adventures is brought to you by Calls on Call, offering call answering and receptionist services for service businesses across the country on the web at callsoncall.com. And of course, the Bold Business Book, a book for the entrepreneur in all of us, available wherever fine books are sold. We'd like to thank you, our wonderful listeners, as well as our guest, Helena Gibson, owner, founder, chief, super awesome woman of Unveil Restorative Hair Care. And Helena, can you tell us that website one more time?
Sure. Unveilhaircare.com.
Awesome. Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night. The podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. I want you to stay awesome. And if you do nothing else, enjoy your business.